Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really incredible piece of source material. We're looking at a classic story adapted from Rumi's Masnavi, specifically from Rumi's Tales and Wisdom, authored by Dr. Amani and Dr. Nozin. Now, I know it's an ancient narrative, but honestly, the psychology and the philosophical takeaways here are so timeless. It might just completely reframe how you look at the setbacks in your own life. So, let's just jump right in with a pretty direct question. Have you ever desperately wanted something, maybe even prayed for it, only to get a hard no? I mean, think about a time you worked tirelessly for a specific outcome, poured your literal heart and soul into making it happen, and ultimately walked away totally empty-handed. It's a universal human experience, right? And usually, in that moment, it feels like a massive defeat. It feels like the universe is just working against you. But today, we're going to challenge that assumption head-on. Because the ultimate takeaway from our story today boils down to this one profound thought. God's denial may, in fact, be his care. I want you to just let that concept sit in the back of your mind as we go through this explainer. We're going to explore exactly how a really harsh, disappointing denial can actually be the ultimate form of protection. All right, Section 1, a fearsome catch. Our story kicks off out in the bitter cold of the wild. We meet the first of our two main characters, who is this very proud snake catcher. He's out hunting, searching for a massive prize, and he finally comes across one, a huge snake. But it is so freezing out there that the snake is completely immobilized. It basically looks frozen solid, totally lifeless. And the catcher? He's absolutely thrilled. He is incredibly proud of this catch, and his mind immediately races to the payoff. He hatches this plan to drag this huge creature down into the city, show it off to the gathering crowds, and make a fortune. He throws it over his shoulder, completely convinced he just hit the jackpot. Now, the source text drops a pretty massive clue here. It explicitly describes this creature as fearsome, which is a word specifically meant to inspire deep dread and terror. But the catcher doesn't see that dread at all. He is completely blinded by ambition, he's just seeing dollar signs. The narrative is heavily hinting at the sleeping danger this man is just casually, happily carrying toward a crowded city. Moving on to Section 2, the ignorant thief. So, as the snake catcher is walking along the road, an opportunistic thief spots him. And the second this thief lays eyes on that massive snake, he grows incredibly covetous. He is just consumed by this intense desire to possess what belongs to the catcher. He's thinking, man, if I could just steal that, I could be the one to sell it and reap all the rewards. And just like the catcher, this covetous nature entirely blinds him to the reality of the creature. Driven by all that greed, the thief puts his plan into motion. He starts acting furtively, sticking to the shadows, biding his time to avoid any attention. He cunningly waits until the snake catcher is totally distracted by the journey, and when the moment is perfectly right, he secretively snatches the prized snake and quickly rushes it back to the safety of his own home. He is absolutely thrilled with his seemingly perfect heist. But here's the catch, and the text emphasizes this critical, fatal flaw. The thief was completely ignorant of the reality right in front of him. Because the snake lay so incredibly cold and still, the thief lacked the fundamental awareness to see the danger. He mistakenly equated that utter stillness with safety, just assuming the snake was dead or entirely powerless. He thought his theft was a massive success, a pure, unadulterated gain. Let's actually trace how this plays out, because the consequences of his ignorance happen fast. First, out in the elements, the snake is totally frozen and seemingly lifeless, right? Then, the thief steals it, thrilled with his new asset. But notice the turning point. The thief brings the snake back into his house, and the ambient heat of his home starts to spread. It wraps around this frozen creature. Slowly but surely, that heat causes the fearsome snake to revive from its icy slumber. The muscles thaw, the instincts return, and instantly the creature strikes. It kills the thief right there on the spot. What the thief thought was his great profit actually became the exact instrument of his immediate demise. Which brings us to Section 3, the hidden blessing. Meanwhile, the snake catcher eventually realizes his prized possession is gone, and shortly after, he hears about the grim fate of the guy who stole it. This is such a brilliant contrast between perception and reality. Think about it. To the thief, this snake was a great profit, a sudden gain, a literal treasure. But the stark reality? It was a fearsome threat, it was literal ruin in disguise. The exact same object that was viewed as a treasure turned out to be an absolute nightmare. When the snake catcher realizes this, he goes through a massive shift in perspective. He goes from intensely grieving his stolen property to experiencing this profound, overwhelming gratitude. He has this sudden realization and says, I was praying to get my snake back, but God in his mercy did not answer my prayer. He saved me from its harm. He instantly understands that his unanswered prayer wasn't a punishment, it was a literal life-saving rescue operation. And that leads us to Section 4, Rumi's timeless wisdom. Here, Rumi actually steps back from the story to point out a huge, fundamental human flaw. We are constantly misjudging the world around us. With our super narrow scope of knowledge, we form completely wrong conclusions about what will actually benefit us. Out of pure ignorance, we blindly cling to dangerous desires. We always think we know exactly what's best for us, but we're constantly misjudging what will bring us true harm and what will bring us true benefit. And this dynamic doesn't just apply to literal snakes out in the wild. We do this all the time. We aggressively chase after intense desires, high status positions, material possessions, totally unaware that those very things might ruin us. We pursue them with the exact same covetous energy as that thief. We're completely convinced they're our treasure, totally blind to the hidden bite they might contain once we finally get them into our homes. So this gives us one of the most powerful paradigms you can adopt. What seems like a loss may truly be a rescue. The text is teaching us that a lot of the misfortunes we basically beg and pray to avoid are actually incredible blessings in disguise. And on the flip side, many of the shining fortunes we fiercely chase down could become our absolute undoing. Not every loss is a bad thing, and certainly not every desire is worth catching. To wrap up the explainer today, I really want you to consider this deeply in your own life. What hidden snakes are you mistakenly pursuing right now, thinking they are treasure? What dangerous desires, positions, or possessions are you coveting? The next time you face a rejection or a path gets blocked, just ask yourself, could that unanswered prayer actually be exactly the rescue you need? Keep this wisdom with you, and I will see you in the next explainer.